Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go to Iowa in the Xfinity Series and Pocono in the Cup Series for our final Pocono race of the season. And we had Noah Gragson back in the car for our Xfinity race here in Iowa. It wasn't a good qualifying position. We never really run good at Iowa. I don't think our team's ever finished in the top 10 at this track. And as he went through turns 1 and turns 2, getting very sideways through the center of the corner, making a big save, but he would drop back from that moment there as he dropped down to about P24 or so as he came to a little bit later in the race, making contact with the 15 of Joe Nemechek on his inside, kind of getting punted out of the way as he dropped down to P25, but he would be able to work his way up to P20 as he came to the final lap, now going down through turns 3 and turns 4, sitting in that 20th spot, getting onto the apron, and sideways Gragson would go, giving up a spot to the 42 as well as the 32 as they cross the line, and Gragson would come through to get P22 in Iowa. So a disappointing finish. Our team has struggled quite a bit here in the last few races, so hopefully we can find a way to turn it around coming soon in the next handful of races. But now it's time to come to the qualifying of the Cup Series at Pocono, a track that we usually run pretty well at now. As we came out of turn 3 heading down the front straightaway, it wasn't the best lap I could run, and it's going to show now as we come through to cross the line. It is P15 here in Pocono with a 50.970. So hopefully we can find our way towards a top 10 position as we get ready to go green here at the Tricky Triangle.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series makes its final stop at Pocono Raceway for the running of the Gander Outdoors 400. Now, it's always fun coming to this unique 2.5-mile triangle-shaped speedway. All 3 turns are different, and the banking in those turns is far less than most tracks of its size. The 3 straightaways are all different lengths too. This track operates more like a road course than a speedway with all the gear shifting required. That means crew chiefs will once again be on the hot seat as they try to find that perfect setup that will get their drivers to victory lane.
Alright, we're ready to go green for the Gander Outdoors 400 at Pocono Raceway. Alex Bowman, our teammate, gave up his qualifying position for new tires, so he starts towards the back now as we're on the outside of Clint Boyer for the start of this race. Jimmy Johnson just in front of us. Obviously, he's at his final race at Pocono in our career mode now as we're ready to go green at the Tricky Triangle. The green flag is out, and we are underway alongside the 14 of Clint Boyer from the 14th starting position here today in Pocono now as we make the lunge down towards turns 1. Harvick and Truex on the front row as they lead us into the first corner now as we drop back just barely to P15, sitting behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Joey Logano on my back bumper there as we come through the center of the corner. Harvick clear for the lead as Almirola, his teammate, is looking to move through to second now as Almirola is currently the last car in on points right now in the playoffs, so he is by no means safe right now as we go down into the tunnel turn side by side with the 22 of Logano's. They're going 3 wide up ahead. Keselowski has a bit of a moment there as we get past him and take over P16, as well as Buescher at a moment as well as we go down into turns 3, trying to take over the spot from Buescher to move back up into a top 15 position. As we come through the center of the corner, we would easily clear him as we head in down the front straightaway now, coming through to complete this first lap here in Pocono. Now going to take a 3 wide with Logano and my teammate of Jimmy Johnson now as we head down towards turns 1 behind the 21 of Paul Menard. And as we came through on the next lap, sitting on lap 2, a chance of making a move up the inside of Menard as we went down towards turn 3 as well on Denny Hamlin. 3 wide between myself, Menard, and Hamlin as we came through the corner. And we would clear them both as we came through the center, moving up into P10 now as we came down the front straightaway as well, looking to the outside of the 3 of Austin Dillon, another driver who has to win to get into the playoffs, and we would get past him. And as we came to lap 4, we would now look to the inside of Kyle Larson for the 8th position as we went down the front straightaway, continuing to move my way through the field really quickly now as we follow Kurt Busch in the 1 car. A big run for him on Eric Almirola, and we're going to try and follow that run and look to the inside of Almirola as well as we head down towards turns 1. We would be able to get to his inside and take over the spot and get clear of Almirola as we take over P7 now. And as we came to lap 6 now, using the helmet cam in this race a little bit as we came through turn 3, just continuing to run in P7 behind Kurt Busch. I kind of got stalled out once I got to P7. I just couldn't quite find a way to get around the 1 car of Kurt Busch for some reason, so it was unfortunate that I couldn't quite get beside Kurt Busch even. I would eventually have an opportunity to have a chance to get to the inside of Kurt Busch now as he came through another lap lap or so later as we went down through turns 1, sitting right behind Kurt Busch now as he moved up the track a little bit, and that allowed me to look to his inside as we went down the back straightaway here, trying to take over the 6th position from Kurt Busch. But once it came down to straight line speed, he was able to get clear of me, so we would drift in behind him now as we came to the final lap in the stage. Once again, looking to the inside of Kurt Busch, but once again we have to tuck in behind him as we go down towards turns 1. And I thought maybe as well that it might be better to finish P7 here in stage 1 so we can restart it on the inside. But either way, I'm still going to try and make a move on Kurt Busch to see if I can at least complete a pass now as we go down the straightaway side by side on this final lap in stage 1. Trying to use the side draft on Kurt Busch a little bit there, just about making contact as we head down towards the tunnel turn for the final time in this first stage. Busch up the track as we kind of miss the corner as I completely screwed it up, and that allows Kurt Busch to get clear as we go down the straightaway heading towards turn 3 for the final time in stage 1. Harvick just barely out front of Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott as we come through turn 3 for the final time here in stage 1. Larson lurking behind as we're going to just push the one car now down the front straightaway as we come through to cross the line. We will get P7 in the first stage here in Pocono, so not a bad result by any means, but certainly I felt like we had more speed in the car than what it showed. I think we could have easily been up in the top 5, but Kevin Harvick once again picks up a playoff point. He has certainly been on fire recently. We would take 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires and come out in P7 as we get ready to start stage 2. We'll be starting behind Martin Truex Jr. and Kurt Busch. Harvick and Kyle Busch on the front row as the green flag is back out. And stage 2 is officially underway here in Pocono. Elliott and Blaney on that second row now as we start beside Kyle Larson. And behind us we got the 2 Stewart-Haas drivers of Boyer and Daniel Suarez as we go down towards turns 1 on the inside of the one of the Monster Energy driver of Kurt Busch now as we come through the center of the corner. Obviously the inside lane going to be a big advantage to myself on this restart now as we're still side by side with the one car of Kurt Busch as we head down the straightaway. Kyle Busch, not a great restart up on the outside, fading down behind Chase Elliott into P3 as Harvick continues to lead as we go through the tunnel turn. Truex as well making a move to the inside of his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, and he takes over P3 as Busch falls to P4 as we look to the inside of Ryan Blaney as we head down towards turn 3, trying to take over a top 5 position for the first time here today in Pocono. And as we come through turn 3, we would be able to do that and take over P5 from Ryan Blaney. So a great start on this stage 2 restart now as we're up into the top 5 behind Kyle Busch and the 18 cars. Harvick, Elliott, and Truex right now battling it out up front. And I certainly want to get up there in that battle if possible now as we go down into turns 1 just behind the 18 of Kyle Busch. A little bit of oversteer on the entrance of the corner, but he pushes up and we look to the inside now of Kyle Busch as we head down the straightaway side by side with the 18. We've certainly had a handful of battles with Kyle Busch this season now as we side draft him as we go down towards the tunnel turn. He might have the advantage over me as we go down into the tunnel turn. I'm just usually when I'm on the inside of someone, I'm not able to really pull that move off now as Busch would stay clear now as we came to lap 3. Truex and Elliott getting very racy, and that would allow me to look to the inside of Kyle Busch and Elliott as we go down towards turn 3. Now moving up to P3 in front of the 9 of Chase Elliott for the moment now, but he's going to hang on my right rear as we exit turn 3 heading down the straightaway, not clear of Elliott, and I knew right here that he was going to have the advantage as he completely blows on past me as Kyle Busch as well looks to my outside as we head down towards turns 1, and Kyle Busch would get clear as well. And as we came to another lap or so later on lap 4, Kyle Busch had gone past Elliott, and I would look to the inside of Elliott as well as we went down the front straightaway, hitting lap 5 of 10 here in stage 2. So Harvick trying to pull away, Truex second, Kyle Busch third, and now we move up into P4, passing our Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Chase Elliott now as we go down into turns 1, giving Kyle Busch a bit of a shot to the bumper now as we came to lap 7. Now looking to the outside of Kyle Busch as Truex was making a move for the lead on Harvick now as Harvick checks up big time, and so do we now as we have to make sure we don't wreck him out of the tunnel turn. Certainly a bit of a time coster as we go down towards turn 3. Elliott lurking behind along with Kurt Busch, but we do clear Harvick and take back P4 from Harvick now as Blaney is up ahead as we came through now on lap 8 of 10. Kyle Busch looking to the inside now of Truex for the lead as we go down towards the tunnel turn behind Blaney. Kyle Busch moves up the track, and they're going to slow up once again now as we come out of the tunnel turn 3 wide with Truex and Elliott now as we head down towards turn 3. Some great racing we've had here in this second stage now as we fall in lane behind the 9 of Elliott as they continue to go 3 wide behind us for a moment, but Elliott, he would get past Kyle Busch as well and move back up into P2 as we had gotten to the bumper of Kyle Busch now as we came out of turn 3. Blaney leading as we come towards the white flag now in stage 2, not able to get to the inside of Kyle Busch as we cross the line now, and the stage would end early due to a caution, 1 lap early as I couldn't find what brought it out, but obviously we get P4 in the second stage here in Pocono. And we would have to come to pit road at the end of the stage for 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and obviously we will have to take a big drop in the order. We take this grid drop every time into the final stage at Pocono, and we drop down to P23 for the start of the third and final stage here in Pocono. Can a driver win his way into the playoffs? We're about to find out now as the green flag is back out and the final stage is underway now as we look to the inside immediately of Alex Bowman, as well as we're going to try and take Austin Dillon 3 wide if we can down into turns 1, trying to gain as many positions as possible obviously on this opening restart, because this opening restart here for this final stage is very important if we want to have a chance to win now as we go down through turns 1 on the back bumper of the 43 of Bubba Wallace on the inside of Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Boy, as we go down the straightaway side by side with him, trying to move up into the top 20 now as we close in a little bit towards the back of the 43 car of Bubba Wallace as we go down towards the tunnel turn, clearing Chastain, and I would move up to the top because I knew the top has worked here in the past for me when we're back in traffic, but I completely scooted up and we have to check up behind the 38, so I immediately get back down to the bottom thinking that it might be the safer, better option right now is go down towards turn 3. Menard up on the top having issues as we come through the center of the corner now, trying to get back up into the top 20 as we head down the front straightaway. We're going to take it 3 wide now with Chastain and whoever is on his outside of David Reagan, that is now, as we go down towards turns 1. Blaney leading over second place of Kyle Busch and third place of Chase Elliott now as we go down into the first turn. 3 wide still for a brief moment, but we do get ahead of Chastain and now look to the inside of the 21 of Paul Menard now as we exit turn 1, heading down the straightaway, trying to get to the inside now of Joey Logano, his affiliate teammate now as we go down towards the tunnel turn, edging out Menard into the tunnel turn as we come through the center of it, getting a little bit sideways there as we try to set our sights on the 22 of Joey Logano. And as we head down towards turn 3, Logano now looking to the inside of the 43 of Bubba Wallace just in front of us, and that's obviously an opportunity for myself as we're going to follow through and look to the inside of the 43 and get clear of him now as we moved up all the way to P12 as we came to 10 to go in this race. We were now looking to the inside of the 2 car of Brad Keselowski as we went down into turn 3 behind Martin Truex Jr. taking over P11 from Keselowski, trying to move our way up into a top 10 position as we look to the outside of the 19 now as we go down the front straightaway. Great battling ahead of us now as we look to the outside of Larson as we're now into a top 10 position behind the 1 car of Kurt Busch, and certainly getting caught up in this big battle of this big cluster of cars is not what we need if we want to have a chance to get up towards the front now as we come through turns 1 sideways through the center of the corner as Ryan Blaney now leads just over Kyle Busch, who looked like he was trying to make a move to the inside as we go down the straightaway side by side for a brief moment with Jimmy Johnson now as we go down into the tunnel turn. McMurray and Busch on this little front row of this cluster of cars as Jimmy Johnson sits in the 8th position. Obviously 8th isn't going to cut it for Jimmy Johnson. He has to win if he wants to make it to the playoffs, and as we came through another lap later heading down towards turns 1, Busch getting clear of this battle, and I would come through making a big move on the outside of the 1 car of Kurt Busch, but we have to get out of the throttle and give up that spot there, but we would be able to stay ahead of Jamie McMurray and continue behind Kurt Busch in P7 as we came to lap 34, just 7 laps to go as we go down towards turns 1, and we would end up getting a caution now late here in Pocono, and this would set up for a late race restart with less than 5 laps to go now as we get ready to restart on the inside lane in Pocono late. And we're ready to go green late in Pocono now as Kevin Harvick leads the way along with Kyle Busch as Blaney has fallen down to P3. He has to win to get into the playoffs. We have 4 to go here in Pocono. Can Ryan Blaney put himself in the playoffs? Now last season he easily got in. He had 3 wins last season. This season completely different now as we go into turns 1 on the inside of the 1 car of Kurt Busch. Kyle Busch obviously on the outside, not a good restart for himself as we head down the straightaway behind the 14 of Clint Boyer, approaching just 3 to go in this race at this point now as we head down towards the tunnel turn, just about going 3 wide ahead of us between Boyer, Elliott, and Busch, but Boyer, he backs out of it as we go down into the tunnel turn, just barely on the inside just about now of Kurt Busch as we exit, but we do stay behind him, but now we do look to his inside as we go down towards turn 3, making a 3 wide for a moment now with him and Boyer as we go down into turn 3. We gotta be aggressive if we want to have a chance to win this race now as we clear them both now as we exit the corner, and as it came to 2 to go, sitting behind Kyle Busch, making a big move to his inside as we go down towards turn 1. Elliott to the inside of the 12 of Blaney, taking over P2 now as we exit turn 1. And now we look to the inside of the 12. We're going to need to get past him. By the time we hit the white flag, we want to have a chance at this victory now, as we're going to try and side draft him just barely on his left rear as we go down towards the tunnel turn. And Elliott kind of cut him off, causing him to check up now, as we are on the inside still of Ryan Blaney. As we exit the tunnel turn, a lap and a half remain here in Pocono. Blaney has to win to get in. It's not looking like it's going to happen now, as we go down towards turns 3. Behind the 9 now, clear of Ryan Blaney, as we approach the final lap. A little bit of oversteer through the center of the corner, but we do hang on to it now as we head down the front straightaway, coming through to start the final lap here in Pocono. Elliott right behind the 4 of Harvick. He might have something for him before this thing is over now. Behind us, Blaney and Busch sit 4th and 5th as we sit P3 going down towards turns 1, and we make a bit of a mistake getting onto the apron there. Sideways we go, but we hang on to the car as we exit the corner. Elliott now looking to the inside of Harvick. They're going to be side by side when they go into the tunnel turn, which could be an opportunity for myself to pounce now on this final lap here in Pocono. Side by side they go into the tunnel turn. Elliott, Harvick battling it out for the lead. They mess up the corner. Up the track they go. Harvick has the advantage now as we go down towards turn 3 for the final time. Not close enough to make a move. Now as Elliott just barely gets cleared by Harvick, and now Kevin Harvick is in command in this final corner now as we exit turn 3, trying to do whatever I can, but nothing is enough now, as Kevin Harvick will hold off a charging Elliott for the victory here in Pocono. As we come through to get P3, Kurt Busch rounds out the top 10. Daniel Suarez up there in 9th. Jimmy Johnson, our teammate in a must-win situation, down in P16. Landon Castle 30th. Ryan Truex down there rounds out your 40th position. So a great race here in Pocono. One of the better ones I've had, to be honest. Stage 2 was really a great stage. And then we had a good battle there in the final stage, and obviously these last few laps are really good. Elliott going for the win on the last lap. He just didn't quite have the momentum he needed going down the straightaway into turn 3 as he pushed himself and Harvick up the track. Elliott did not come away with the victory. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very, very appreciated. In the next one, we go to Watkins Glen. We've gotten, I think, 2 wins here in our Cup Series career. One of my favorite tracks on the schedule for sure. So hopefully we can go to Watkins Glen and have an opportunity at victory now as we sit P2 in the playoff standings. Harvick, 3 wins now, as Logano and Almirola are still the last 2 cars in. McMurray, 43 out. Cody Ware still in the playoffs until he falls out of the top 30. He's actually 8 points to the good from 31st right now, so he's borderline going to make it to the playoffs. But I will see you guys in the next episode for our second road course race of the season at Watkins Glen. So thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.